Many people often ask me, is this a vlog? What actually is the channel? What sort of route am I going down? Well, it isn't a vlog, it's nothing really, to be honest, and many of you obviously found that out. But I do like to record what I do on a daily basis when I go out and about, and at certain times of the year I record certain orders or certain species. In the summer, a lot of it is glowworms, and get to this time of year, it's looking for purple emperor larvae, and a brief window of opportunity is about to come crashing down and end, because snow and rain is forecast and an increase in the winds as well. And over recent days, a lot of the leaves on the goat sallows have decided to fall, but the last couple of days have proved to be very successful, and it now appears that the purple emperor butterfly here in Sherwood Forest has done way better than what we thought. If you watch the last video, you'll realise that I found that the third instar purple emperor larva, and it's right at the top towards the centre tree here at Clipston Old Quarter. The following day I came back up here again and met with success on a different sallow, but about 20-30 yards down from where the one was that I featured in the last video. I am going to check on both those today, but the intention of me wandering around here today is to have probably one last look for purple emperor larvae, probably up towards the Blackpool area, because after today, or at least later today, the wind is going to pick up a bit. We're going to get rain and possibly even some of the white stuff. That will be very nice to film in, but however, I suspect we won't get that much of the white stuff here in Nottingham. But as we go through this video, I want to recollect some other work that has been done, some work to rescue 3 purple emperor larvae. I know good candidates for dangly leaves associated with purple emperor larva activity. Quite often some of the sallow leaves, they appear to dangle, but they dangle because they're just attached by some fibrous tissue at the end of the leaf petiole, and that often just clings on and allows it to hang there. What of course we're looking for is a leaf that is almost twirling occasionally, almost like a Christmas garland, one that you used to hang from the ceiling years ago. And you need that petiole to be completely separate. It shows up really well in binoculars. Binoculars are a good method to check those dangly leaves higher up. But this sallow here, large one under that tree, and one just across the other side of the path. We've had no purple emperor larvae on them for, this will be 2 years now. There's still no sign, and they're in various different states. The one just across there is still pretty much in full green leaf, not suitable for dangly leaves. And that's quite interesting actually, as I say that, because certain sallows seem better at producing the right conditions or the right leaves, leading to the larva producing a dangly leaf. Others don't. Like the one that's at the side of me here, the leaves don't go yellow on it really, they just sort of go very discoloured, almost greyish, and then drop off. There are a few dangly leaves on it, but none of them that I can see are associated with purple emperor activity. on this section of track which leads up to the centre tree here at Clipson Old Quarter, there's several mature sallows. Surprising how large sallows can get. And one that I'm at the side of is probably a good nearly 20 metres tall. It's a huge thing. But mature sallows, they're either not used so much by purple emperor females as an egg laying site, or it's just they're too big for us to find them. But yesterday, Nick Brownlee and myself, we had a wander around part of the forest called Seymour Grove. The Thoresby estate are removing the pines out of there, and that does affect purple emperors, or certainly potentially. And so we had a walk along there yesterday, and via the dangle leaf method we located 3 purple emperor L3 or 3rd instar larvae. But because some branches had been removed in order to allow better access for the timber lorries to get through to the site, we also found an additional purple emperor larva at the side of a bud, patiently waiting for 2025 to come along, only it wouldn't have ever really come along, not successfully anyway, for that particular larva. On a fallen branch, well, a sawn off branch that was strewn at the side of the track, it was fortunate that Nick Brown himself found it. It's now at home with me, and along with 3 other purple emperor larvae which we went into the country park to collect, because through some rather irresponsible and ill-thinking management, they wanted to turn one not particularly large goat sallow into a dead hedge, and the act of cutting some of that sallow down, at least partly down, to create such dead hedge, 3 purple emperor larvae were affected, and so they're now safely at home with me, and they'll remain outside on their chosen buds right through the winter, and then in spring we'll be relocating them back to somewhere near where they were collected from. And it's something that we've had to do, or we've felt increasingly that we need to do, to try and protect, or at least give the purple emperor here some more protection from, shall we say, indiscriminate management. After all these years, they still don't realise the importance of goat sallows, not just for purple emperors, but for a whole wide range of invertebrates. Well, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I was successful the other day in finding a second larva up here, and things have changed. I've just had a quick look, can't initially find the larva yet. It has relocated. It was sat on the leaf petal, but you may well be able to see the characteristic dangly leaf in the centre of the picture there. Now that leaf was just discoloured, but it was still firmly attached the other day when I found the larva. You might just give the branch a little tap, and you can see that leaf there and how it's attached by numerous strands of silk. So the larva was on the next leaf up from that one, the one that goes out to the left. Now I've got to locate it. It's probably not too far, but it's a well marked larva, and see if I can relocate it somewhere close by. And here it is, only about 4 inches just further down the branch that it was on, tucked up against this old leaf scar, perfectly camouflaged. Interesting that the specimens that we're starting to find now, 3 have been this colour, this very sort of dull olive green to grey colour, but very well marked. Matches perfectly with the colour of the sallow branch here. Normally they are green, like a pale orangey green, very similar to the colour of the buds on sallows. But this one, I think, is safe enough to leave here. There is a school of thought to collect them all, keep them safe at home over the winter, and then repatriate back in the spring when they begin to become active. It's a school of thought that I very much lean to, increasingly lean to be honest. But I'll leave this one for today and hope it remains safe. And that's always the big fear. It's so still today that any dangly leaves really aren't moving. There's no movement in the canopy, even high up. You could just do with a very slight breeze. And that's what we had yesterday. There was just enough breeze to twirl and twist any dangly leaves that we found. And although Nick and myself found 3 larvae actually in the trees via the dangle leaf method, we found 3, probably 4 dangle leaves where we couldn't find the associated larvae, and yet they looked perfect dangle leaves, and they went up to about a height of 10 meters. So purple emperor larvae certainly found higher than what I thought. Just that today I can't pick any dangly leaves out at all, but I will now go and have a check on the one I found and that you saw in the last video. And here's the larva that I featured in the last video. I don't know whether it's my eyes, but that seems to have greened up. I could have sworn it was greyer. Beautifully marked though. And still in the same place. This is one that I worry about. I worry about that it's so low. It's very close to the path and could easily be brushed off. Well hunkered down next to its favoured bud. Amazing how these survive periods of severe frost. We did have a frost last night, but frosts mean nothing to these chaps. Marvellous. Well, I've just found a second one on this same tree, and I found it by these 2 of these. One I'll show you in a minute, which is still attached. It looked ready to come off, but wasn't dangling, and indeed I couldn't really see that much of any kind of silk. And I uncurled the leaf a little bit and saw this type of feeding. My suspicions were raised, and the other leaf was similar. So it was then a case of trying to track down the culprit. Was it a purple emperor larva? Yes, it was. And a nice green one too. Very different to the one that we've just seen. Well, here's where the 2 leaves were. They're attached to this stem. One still remains. They are, or were, fixed with silk. And then it was a case of to find the caterpillar, the culprit. Was it purple emperor? And of course it was. And in order to find it, we go back up the stem, we go up to here, and then we go down here. And we continue to go down here. Right to the very end almost. How green that is. You can see very close to the end bud. Usually they're a little bit further down, but it's the green colour. This is almost how they go in spring once they start to become active. I'm convinced that there are going to be more on this tree. Hopefully we can find them over the course of the winter. Right now it's concentrating on finding them by dangly leaves, and they're much easier to look for when there's no leaves on the trees during the winter. But the dangly leaf method is a fabulous method and a profitable method in which to find these, and that's because through the experience of Nick and Samantha Brownlee and myself, if you locate dangly leaves, you've got a very high percentage of finding a caterpillar quite close to it. So less work, more rewards for far less work. Well, I took a wrong turning purposely. I'm not going completely senile yet, but instead of turning left at the centre tree and going down towards the black pool, I decided to turn right and go down to the major oak because I wanted to film where Nick and I removed the purple emperor larva from yesterday. But on the way down here, down Broad Drive, realised that this is probably the best place in Sherwood Forest for purple emperors. Lots of sallows on here, all on the left hand side as you look at it. Oaks and the rest of the forest on the right hand side. Problem is that all the sallows are really tall, but it would make the most marvellous breeding ground for purple emperors. I think so. I can easily see purple emperor females coming up and down here, visiting the sallows and laying eggs. Trouble is, there's no chance that we can ever find them. Well, this is the area that Nick Brown and myself came to remove the 3 purple emperor larvae. They were on a goat sallow which is situated between that ancient tree there and one there, and there is the goat sallow, what remains of it. Unfortunately, for some reason, it was decided to cut half of it down and layer it down to create a dead hedge, so to speak, although it's not been cut completely through. Why that was done, I have no idea, because that particular goat sallow would have no effect, and has no effect whatsoever, on the 2 ancients. The only good thing about this management is the fact that because it's been layered, the branches haven't been cut through completely. They will still live, but whether any purple emperor larvae that remain on there, if there are any, whether they live is doubtful. Well, that doesn't look too bad a walk home, does it? Or at least back to the car. Walking along one of the south-facing parts of Sherwood Forest with agricultural farmland on the left-hand side and the forest itself on the right. There's a couple of possible sallows that could well have been used by purple emperors, and I'll be checking those as I walk along this particular pathway, but otherwise it's just going to be a pleasurable walk after what's been a profitable walk around Clipson Old Quarter. I ended up taking a different route, but nice to tread on different paths. And we have found an additional purple emperor larva to add to the collection, so to speak. Another one that we know the whereabouts of and we can monitor through the course of the winter. And more are waiting to be discovered too. There's plenty to keep us occupied.